All right, all right.
Hey, parser people.
What's up, parser people?
Except we're not doing a parser game.
Well, we will later.
So we are doing 80 days. 80 days is probably one of the best games, text-based games that, like, purely text-based that I've played. Period. Jerem, tell me about your love of 80 days.
Who doesn't love ADDs, my man? When this thing came on the scene, it was a bit of a game changer. I think Time Magazine might have given it some kind of Game of the Year thing. It's that rare combination of things that is both extremely popular and extremely good. I would quibble with your assertion that it is purely text-based. There is a couple of... number one, obviously the GUI of your world map screen. Number two, the trading and how do you say, inventory optimization puzzle. You couldn't do that in the next game. Although, you know, it's kind of funny that we're doing Superluminal Vagrant Twin later, because this will end up being something about planes, trains, and automobiles themed episode, right? Just bopping around the galaxy and/or the world.
Yeah, that's... I was struggling to think of a theme connecting the two, and then I was walking back from the corner store and was like, oh, they're both about journeys. Okay, great. Cool. Cool. Let's pull up. So what direction do you normally go in 80 days?
That is the great tragedy of 80 days. There is an objectively correct way to win, right? Like, your objectively correct way is to go through Budapest, over through Russia, hop in, like, I think it's, Pyongyang? That you can get the train, you can get a plane to Hawaii, and then sometimes through the States. Have you found the northern Arctic Circle route yet?
I have. That is normally the way I go. Is through the northern circle, which I don't, does not turn out very good. We did not go that direction, so whatever, if we miss some time, we miss some time. Let me give you a quick overview.
All right, where we at?
So we have, we started going through Europe, and I wanted to do Northern Europe because I ended up with a ton of really valuable things early on.
Uh-huh.
And then went south through Greece and visited the monks.
Very good.
And then I messed up and went the wrong direction and ended up going through the Middle East and northern India, and now we got told basically to go to the Pangsao Pass, which I guess is Nepal.
I believe so, yeah.
So we have traveled almost 10,000 miles, and we've not gotten very far, and we're 47 days in. Whoops! Postcard created. Well, that's neat. You can do that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. While it might not have been geographically optimized, it's my argument, and I have played this game a lot, that the northern India segments have some of the richest and best writing in the game. Agra, I think, specifically stands out as a memory. At any rate, let's catch some Z's here. See where we're at.
Yeah. So, one of the other things, so do you know actually about this? So can I get to it? So there's the stats. Ooh, the music gets loud. There's the stats part. Which I cannot see right now. Okay, great. But like, oh, you're, I don't remember the wording that they use, but like, you're a shameless flirt.
Oh yes, like, your character.
Yeah, the way that you play Passepartout.
Delightful.
Yeah, let's sleep. So we'll pass the night here. There were no hotels in Pang Sao Pass, but we were put up for the night in a local man's thatched roof dwelling. And that's it.
Alrighty.
So I have not been reading all of Fogg's commentary, but well, now this journey is proving more training than I expected. I've been not doing great with Fogg. I've gotten almost fired.
He's a demanding boss. Don't beat yourself up.
All right, let's explore. There was a mood of grim celebration when we arrived at Pang Sao Pass. A man by the name of Captain Chalmers had captured Surya, a notorious Indian revolutionary responsible for some of the recent disturbances in Chittagong. Would you like to come with me to interrogate the man? Captain Chalmers asked genially. I cannot trust the natives to guard my back.
Huh.
So what I've been trying to do is just trigger as many plot points as possible, which is probably why it took me a long time to get this far. So I felt compelled, or his smile was deceptive.
I feel like we should go with him and sabotage whatever the hell he's doing.
I felt compelled, an automaton at my back, so to speak, as I realized with a sinking heart that this was Manusiha's task for me. I was supposed to rescue the helpless Indian rebel. I made my way towards the prison hut with a heavy heart. The prison hut was a small, rancid-smelling place that had been used more than once. Monsieur Fogg, standing at the door with me, raised an eyebrow. Perhaps they will listen to me, he suggested. I shook my head.
Yeah, I don't think that this is going to go over well.
I've kind of been just like not. So normally when I play, I'm just like trying to make Fogg as happy as possible. I am not this time.
Hey, here's the thing. Fogg's kind of an asshole.
How dare you?
You know I'm right.
I shook my head. We will need more direct methods. Our discussion was briefly interrupted by a scream. I will, ahem, Monsieur Fogg began. Keep a lookout, then. I nodded and slipped around the back of the hut. There was a pile of dry firewood stacked against one wall underneath a window. A fire or looking around for a missile?
Well, we're not very coordinated, so I think maybe distraction.
A fire would be an excellent distraction, I thought. And there had been lit candles back in the barrack huts.
Hey.
A short walk from the prison. I hurried away, trusting that a few extra minutes would be bearable for poor Surya. I returned a moment later with flame. The dry bark caught quickly.
Ooh, so do we set more fires, or do we just start yelling now?
Oh, let's set the whole thing on fire. That seems safe.
Oh, okay.
I hurried back behind another hut, gesturing for Monsieur Fogg to join me. The fire caught quickly and spread to the roof of the hut. The effect was immediate. The captain leapt into action, leaving the hut door wide open.
Hung back?
We hung back a moment until the captain was out of sight, calling for water and buckets, and then we slipped inside. Surya's bonds were cut in a moment using a knife which was, fortuitously, lying there as though just for the purpose.
Fogg doesn't seem like he's doing really great right now. Maybe we should lift this guy up.
I lifted the poor soul while Monsieur Fogg stayed at the door, keeping watch. Then we were away, leaping down the hillside to collapse breathless behind an outcrop of rock. Surya's eyes were dimmed and his breathing hoarse. I thank you, whoever you are, he gasped. You will be saved. I promise it. And
Woo.
thus we stayed, watching as the frantic officers tried to quench the fire and failed, believing all the while, I think, that Surya was still inside. And relations with Fog have started things slightly. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, we have one way to go. Alright,
All right, off we go.
off we go.
Hey, don't be a snob, Fog. Piece of shit. Ooh, we get to go to Beijing. Fun.
All the plenty suitcases. Oh, and it's on our weird bird thing. The Garuda that swooped to collect us seemed to know exactly where we were hiding amongst the trees. It snatched our luggage and then us, and disappeared up into the sky before any of the British soldiers could level their guns. I did not attempt an explanation of Monsieur Fogg.
Nah.
It is clear some things simply do not register on a gentleman's mind.
I think we have to ask him, yeah?
I had to ask Surya what would happen next, and he took a few awful, shuddering breaths before answering. I have friends in China, he replied. They have no love for the British. And he grinned a toothless, bloodied grin. I will recover there for a time. You have done well.
Yeah.
You've done well, I told him. It seemed the compassionate thing to say. He smiled gratefully and then slumped back into sleep. Converse.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. We've done all of these.
Oh,
You think-
okay, cool. So we can. So what does he know about Beijing?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, they say Empress Suzi prefers her automatons to be decorative.
Interesting.
Very useful, thank you.
Oh, I guess we should have used the items first. Oh well.
I mean, that was the last one, huh? That's always, like, the cool thing with talking to Fogg is that sometimes he's actually useful.
Uh-huh.
We crossed the Himalayas at such a speed and height that their snow-capped peaks were but a long stretch of foamy sea. We grew cold on the back of that great creature, and Servia shivered terribly even as we swooped down and landed within sight of the city of Beijing.
I would tend to him.
Yeah.
Let's make sure our ally is nice and healthy.
Rare typo, too.
Yeah, right? There's a lot of words in this game.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, do you know anything about how this game was written?
You know, I don't. I'm gonna assume that it's a storylet based structure. I mean, it is. It's a storylet structure. So they probably drew some inspiration from, The Veritable Fall in London, etc., etc. I believe the head writer for this was Meg Gianth, who is just a genius, just in every goddamn level. If I ever have a chance to talk to her, I would love to ask.
I tended Surya, attempting to warm him a little, and he gave my hands a grateful squeeze. It is not far. Emperor Suzi will have no airships in city limits. That includes Garuda, like this fine fellow. The Garuda in question began to hiss and rumble a little. It spoke in the grating, curiously musical voice of Manusia. Ah, Jean Passepartout, it said. I knew you were more than you seemed.
Surely it must be Jean.
Oh yeah, it is Sean. We have to sleep anyway.
Yeah, well, to bed.
There were no airships sailing across the Beijing sky, nor any evidence of electrification.
Let's stay in richer areas.
Even in the richer areas where a few exceptions to the rule might have been expected. However, I did see a few devices. Animated metal and jade dragons, that
Ooh.
snapped and glared at passers-by, perhaps to discourage thieving. Furthermore, I was lucky enough to catch a performance of the famed Sui Shi opera. The cast consisting entirely of hydraulic elegances, automata by another name.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just
Yeah,
the world building in this.
Dude, I know.
No other nation boasted such a tradition. Though the Artificers Guild manufactured the bodies and mainsprings of the performers, their complex facial mechanisms were built by imperial artisans in strict secrecy. But the opera itself, my friends, it was... I'm trying to remember how I've been playing him to see if I can't. Because that's the thing about the stats in this. They're so quiet.
Yeah, they're very, very, what's the word? Obtuse. Like, I have played through this game at least a dozen times, much more easily, and I have no idea how they work.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I vote spectacle, but that's just me.
Works. My friends, it was a glorious spectacle. Though there were few props, the Sui Shi were extravagantly costumed and capable of acrobatics that would press the most athletic of flesh and blood actors. We were the guests of a man.
Drugs!
Absolutely not. I know how that ends.
Drugs!
Of a Manchu court official who clearly believed us to be spies or troublemakers of some natures. Despite my innocent expression, which was wearing rather false after so many international escapades. After we departed the auditorium, do we want to slip away and go backstage, or be a little horn dog?
Ooh. I don't know. Both of these are pretty appealing. What do you think?
I made a polite inquiry about the Dowager Empress Cixi, who is a figure of near legend in the past, in the West.
She is a modernizer.
Oops.
Whatever.
She was born into poverty and rose through the ranks of concubines and consorts due to her wisdom and wit, he said admiringly. There's a word. A model of Confucian virtues. We thanked our host and made our way back to our lodgings. A pair of opium addicts were slumped in an alley near our hotel, faces blankly blissful despite the emaciation of their limbs.
I saw the poison.
I saw the poison and rot at the heart of Beijing and wondered how long even such a grand structure could endure it.
Man, I want to go to Beijing so bad, you guys.
It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have stuck around to have the chance.
Yeah.
The kung fu school that I worked at did a yearly trip to China, and they went, of course, to the Shaolin Temple for like 3 weeks, and then it was a whirlwind tour of all the big cities in China.
Oh god, I want to do that so bad. Also, if we're gonna digress, we should pause. That's the thing that I love and hate about this game. It really does give you that like kind of whirlwind, planes, trains, and automobiles like.
Exploring gave us some routes.
Okay, so we can go Urga. That's gonna take us down to what, Singapore? No,
yeah,
a lot of
we
us.
can go to Hong Kong. I took a few hours to explore, learning possibilities about how we might go forth. So we can go to Hong Kong.
Do we got anything we're looking to Hawk?
I think I am like extremely empty.
All right.
I mean, robes.
210 in Hong Kong. That sounds worth waking an entire goddamn trip. I would go Vladivostok.
Vladivostok. So that's close the luggage. Departs tomorrow, so we have plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or we can go to Hong Kong now. Oh no!
Nope.
God damn it! Oops. All right. Well, guess we'll hang out then.
We get a Stetson hat since
We're probably gonna be going to America. Yeah. Do we already have some poetry? Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, so we don't need that. Yeah, why not? Let's see. Can we make them any faster? No, we cannot.
Yeah.
How much is it?
Alas.
Oof. 400.
Yeah, that's pretty steep.
That's all right. We have $4,000. This is the
Yeah, so how
most
did-
that I've ever had in this
How
game.
on earth did you score all that dough?
Early on, I found like 3 things that sold for 2,000 each.
Nice.
And I actually like went to the right places for once. As night fell, I would love to explore, but I attended to Monsieur Fogg, providing him with clipped mustaches. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
On
Go,
the
go, go.
Ching. Baking sunshine and mild seas.
Team plus 20. Oh, yeah, so we're actually going to recover a bit.
Hopefully. I get
that's
so
good.
worried about going through Asia because every time I've done it, it's ended badly. Like, really badly. Like, that's why I was like, we're not messing with anything with opium because the last time that I did that,
Oh,
I
no.
ended up in, like, southern Japan. We boarded the Jiaoqing, a Chinese junk with billowing patterned sails and a red and gold phoenix painted upon its prow, bound for Vladivostok. Do you take passengers often? Captain Zhao made a small gesture with his right hand, as if waving away a stray thought. In peacetime, we do, he said. It was not a surprising response. It had been 10 years since the last Opium War, but European powers and Russia still scratched at China's borders. Oh, thank God. Greetings, Captain.
All right.
Vladivostok.
Try Yokohama. Or Honolulu.
Is it possible to go from Vladivostok to Yokohama? Great. Collectors in Salt Lake City will pay fantastic amounts for katana blades from Yokohama. Vladivostok. Let's just keep going north. No information. Here's something I do know. It was once Chinese, I think. But now, you think the Russians will go to war with Japan?
Oh, boy. I could not tell you that, my friend.
Yes. The tension has been building for some time. Ha! I think it's all bluster myself. Playing cards.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Give me something here.
Honolulu.
Can we go straight to Honolulu?
Or San
No?
Francisco.
Straight to San Francisco?
Maybe?
No. I mean,
Okay.
harmonicas.
Have you been to New Orleans yet?
I have.
What a delight.
Yeah, I have put something like 60 hours into this game.
It's so unbelievably good.
And like the thing that I'm amazed by is that I've put 60 hours into this game and there's still things that I'm finding. Like
So
I did
many
not
things.
know that you could get and like easily, so hopefully not spoilers. I don't really want to go through New Orleans if we can avoid it.
Yeah.
But New Orleans was the first place that I was like, wait, you can like pick up romantic options And now I'm just like I didn't know until the last time that I played through this that you could get a romantic option in the North Pole.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, the romantic option is also the bad end. So,
Yeah, yeah. I spent the first day aboard eavesdropping, hoping to find options for our next journey. Learning from a remarkably energetic Javanese youth that a notorious jewel thief plied the waters between Singapore and Batavia in a boat called the Spicy Jake. As night drew on, incredible stars filled the sky. It was a most peaceful, beautiful moment.
the spicy jig.
Fog. Oh, he's doing great now. I saw Captain Zhao reading a Chinese newspaper at breakfast and asked if he would tell me the news. We are...
Yeah, don't be parochial, Passepartout.
Yeah, right? He pressed his lips together. It is out of date. The Shen Pao is printed in Shanghai, and I only pick it up when I happen to dock there.
Huh.
What's the most interesting story? The paper is campaigning against the employment of young women in opium bars in the French concession. He pointed at the article in question, as they are often asked to perform immoral services.
The French traders must be up at arms.
The French traders must be up in arms. Captain Zhao added seriously. It has turned into quite an uproar. I spent a stimulating afternoon in discussion with Captain Zhao as the wind filled our fully battened sails and sped us on our way to Vladivostok. This game has also made me so unsure and so proud at being able to pronounce anything.
Yup.
It's just like, alright, yeah, let's move from like northern India to Russia to the Middle East. Okay. Nothing. I was really hoping for any kind of like information.
Yeah.
The Jiaqing had to dart between the busy junks filling the harbor to find a space to dock. I found Vladivostok to be quite intimidatingly martial, especially after the elegance and beauty of Beijing. Still, there was nothing for it. I hurried after my master into the city. And I'm gonna do this really quick. Do 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 do. Oh no. Oh, bummer. Oh wait. Whoa, no. One more try.
Hello.
There we go.
Hey.
That way you get the instant view.
Oh, nice. Oh no. All right, well, let's explore.
All right, we can go to Yokohama or
Yokohama.
Pyongyang. The military port of Vladivostok looked over the calm black water of the Sea of Japan and was populated largely by sailors of the Far East Fleet and a mix of Chinese, Korean, and Russian residents. I visited Matroskaya Sloboda, sailor town. A hastily constructed set of low buildings sprawling out from the harbor. Sailors drank lemon tea or vodka in every doorway and talked only of one thing, the possibility of war with Japan. Oop. I sidled over to...
I think a young man worse for drink, right?
A young man worse for drink as he slurred, "The Tsar favors war, and what the Tsar wants he gets." Shut up, Vitaly. one of his friends elbowed him nervously.
No, 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 it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. We're cool. Everything's cool. We're cool.
You may speak freely in front of me, I assured them quietly. I am a foreigner, and I know nothing of the Tsar. The Tsar is an ambitious man, Vitaly coughed. Britain and France have their empires in Indochina, and the Tsar is looking eastwards as well. After all, on a clear day, you can almost see the shores of Japan from here. A sobering thought. The hour was getting late by the time I made it back to my hotel, but my adventuring here was far from over. An imposing Imperial Army officer accosted me in reception and subjected me to a thorough search. I objected most strongly, and he threw me to the floor and then studiously went through our cases and my pockets anyway, although of course he found nothing seditious. Vladivostok is a closed port, he declared. You will be held while a decision is taken in your case.
See, that seems to indicate to me that there is an opportunity at some point to pick up something seditious.
I think there is.
That is the other thing that blows my mind about the intricacy of the story mapping with this. Can you imagine how many threads and how many variables these guys had to account for? Like, something as simple as, like, picking up the artificer's little whistle, like right in Paris, which I think pays off like halfway around the world.
Yeah, there's so many, and like, I think that's the strength of the inventory system.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, you have to make that choice between the thing that is worth, like, I had to get rid of the artificer's Bible.
Yes.
And I was like, but in order for me to move forward, I need to go down to 3 cases. And like, usually it's because of money, but like this time it was just, we will not let you buy another case on this train. And I'm like, but okay.
But I want it.
Are we gonna plead with them? Are we just gonna like chill, or are we gonna try and bluster our way through? I think the only way is to bluster.
Bluster!
I attempted to bluster my way through in dramatic fashion, with a stirring tale of abduction by Mongol tribesmen, daring escapes a horseback and near drownings in freezing rivers. Alas, I had not accounted for the Russian taste for tragedy over adventure. The officer was utterly unmoved. And so it was that we came to spend 4 nights in a Russian military jail.
No!
Not an experience I would recommend, even for the hardiest of travelers. When we were finally released, it was without much discussion. We were pointed to the docks and told to leave, and quickly. I would love to. Yokohama?
Yep.
We are on a Korean ship. They don't even name it. We avoided the Russian military ships and instead took passage on a Korean vessel crewed by a mix of Koreans, Mongolians, and Siberians, who regarded Monsieur Fogg with grave curiosity.
Charging a pound?
I considered charging £1 for a look at him. I might have made £20. They continued to goggle at my master in mild disbelief until he retreated below deck with the slightest of furrows etching his brow. News. English captain resigns after Pangsao prisoner escapes.
Woohoo!
Heck yeah. Doing actual good in the world. For the first day aboard, we kept ourselves mostly to ourselves. The crew seemed busy with their tasks, and I was happy to have fewer of those myself. Monsieur Fogg was his usual impervious self, however, and made his calculations and read his newspaper. Meanwhile, the boat steamed onwards.
Can we massage him?
Yeah, let's massage him. I could not wish
But
for a more superior valet.
aw.
One of the cabin girls, Elena, spoke good English and was attached to us as a translator, though she created as much conversation as she explicated. Do you know my parents?
Are they famous?
Are they famous? My father was a Russian officer, maybe, I think, and Mama comes from a famous Cossack family. They're all soldiers.
Huh.
Maybe?
Maybe?
A Russian officer, maybe? I raised an eyebrow. Well, Mama met him when she was dressed as a man and joined the Cossack coast. He was very surprised, I think. Elena shrugged. Mama says he died of shock, leaving me as a present. But I think he probably ran away because Mama is so fierce. She looked proud rather than distressed at the prospect. I blinked down at the little cabin girl, rather at a loss as to how I should respond.
That's nice.
I hazarded, and she nodded enthusiastically. Mama runs the boiler room, and all the sailors are frightened of her. She told me rather wistfully. One day, I will be like her. Elena made a mock fierce face, and I pretended to quake in terror until we both began laughing uproariously.
A friend in the boiler room.
More seriously, a friend in the boiler room was useful. I wondered, idly but aloud, if it would be possible to speed up our arrival into Yokohama. Elena nodded vigorously. I will ask my mother. With that, she hurried away.
Well, that was productive. Shall we converse?
Yeah. Greetings, mademoiselle. Good day,
yeah.
Frenchman. All right. Let me tell you that one can travel aboard the steamship The Gates of the East from Yokohama to Manila.
Oh, all right, all right.
This is where it always gets dicey to me.
Yeah, can we open up Manila?
Oh, yes, we can.
Yeah. Manila to London? I feel like maybe maybe that's a possibility. Like,
Just straight?
I mean, there might be maybe there's a stop in there. But we're getting close-ish. Oh wait, no, there's an entire fucking continent. God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah,
Right,
I
also-
was like, what?
For our gentle viewers, in case you couldn't tell from my voice, I am currently trying to think through several layers of Dayquil, as opposed to my several layers of wine, as usually seen on the stream. So if I'm making less sense than usual, forgive me.
Oh yeah, that's why you have no idea of geography, that you forgot the continent that we live on.
I did go to New Orleans public schools.
Well, we don't want to go to Singapore. Madras is absolutely the wrong direction. Port Moresby?
That's down by Straya, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Please, monsieur, I must go, but I hope we'll talk again. Please, have a cracker biscuit. Pitcairn Island? Here's something I do know. The entire population of Pitcairn Island was founded from the mutineers of the HMS Bounty.
Hey, there's a
I
movie about
know,
that.
but that doesn't help me right now.
Yeah.
What about Stone Town? Here's something I do know. Zanzibar is famous for its cardamom and spice plantations.
You know, I'm sure this is handled by a random rule on the back end, but boy, does it grind my gears when these people just start randomly talking about cardamom and mutiny. Like, no, I'm asking for directions, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean... Alright, Panama City? Probably. But you can obtain sugar canes in Panama City. You can sell it for profit in Porto Novo. Alright, you know what? Can we go to Madras? No one knows. Here's something I do know. The sisters of Didicus and Madras are quite fixated about automata shards.
Huh.
Oh. Well.
Hey, that's what we like to see.
Alright.
Honolulu, baby.
Elena knocked on my door unreasonably early in the morning, eyes bright. The price of arriving today, she informed in clear tones that suggested she was repeating a memorized script, is £800. And, she added, if you can't afford that, then you can boil your heads. I would like to speak to your mama directly. The girl nodded. What would you like to say? Is she here?
Yeah, after her face to face. Also, man, go boil your heads. This is an underrated insult. What a burn.
After a fashion, I will run with whatever message you give and repeat it exactly. Talking, and she put on a most absurd squeaky voice as she finished. Like a Frenchman.
Hey. Shut up. Shut up. Do we want to try to say we'll pay when we arrive and weasel out of it? Or try to argue?
I would almost say, well, if we can weasel out of it, but like, we have the money. We have $3,500.
That's not really that much for the entire rest of the damn planet.
We only have 20 more days. Come on. No, that's... If we can speed through, then it should be okay.
Alright,
if we get to Yokohama, we can buy katanas. And
like any good weeb.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a sword guy. Like...
Alright, let's do it.
Everywhere had those shops that sold like incense, body jewelry you should not put on your body, and swords.
That's your New Jersey roots, your deep and true love of malls shining through.
Tell your mama we will pay when we arrive.
Oh boy.
Elena nodded and hurried off. She returned a moment later and said, and declared, "You must think me a child. Pay or wait, I don't mind." Yeah, let's just pay.
Yeah, let's just pay. Alright.
I paid. Elena ran off and returned out of breath a few minutes later. Mama said to tell you, Elena told me, pride evident in every word. We will be arriving early. Today, in fact. Your mama is a marvel, I exclaimed, and she gave me a grin before slipping away, her arm raised in just the slightest of military-style salutes. Monsieur Fogg lowered his newspaper a fraction and cleared his throat in what I took to be an approving manner, but made no further comment. Oh. I thought he was going to be like $800? I guess he never really complains about money unless you don't have any.
Yeah, just like a rich guy. Alright, let's get out of here. Can we just depart?
We can.
Yeah, let's
No,
fucking go. Come on, let's go.
But the katanas.
Alright, fine. What is it, depart? Oh no!
Right now.
Shoot. Sorry.
Oh, did we have time?
I don't know.
It's like, so in playing this, I've been like, well, why is this taking me so much longer than like a normal run? I was like, you know, it runs like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And then I'm realizing that I'm actually reading every single bit of text.
Yeah, buddy.
Instead of playing the game as a game. And it's a wildly different experience. You know, you kind of like absorb what's going on as opposed to be like, wow, this is an intense amount of world building. Speaking of, The Noilani was a new concept, we were told, a hover barge making the long-distance journey from Yokohama to Honolulu in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. If only it was frankly terrifying and only went further than Honolulu, I had not realized it was an experiment when buying tickets.
If only it went further, maybe we can finagle a deal.
If only it went further than Honolulu. A little bone rattling for the sake of a few days' efficiency seemed like a good trade to me. But the ship had just only enough fuel for the journey, and even then, I think, only just. It seemed like a journey of bad omens, certainly. As we're loading our cases aboard, a shadowy figure approached me on the dock and pressed a monkey wrench into my hands. "What is this for?" I demanded. "Monsieur, if you are traveling aboard that craft," the figure said roughly, "you will require this. Trust me." Without another word, they were gone.
Alright, well.
Fogg does not need to know this.
Yeah, Fogg would just worry him.
I mentioned no word of this to Monsieur Fogg. He would have found the event most uninteresting anyway. Then we boarded. We and the other passengers on this inaugural crossing must have looked pale and uneasy as we set off. Even the captain was sweating.
It's the heat. Surely.
No doubt the heat was to blame. Besides, standing next to the captain was our very own artificer, so what could possibly go wrong? And indeed, when disaster struck, its nature took us all quite by surprise.
That's what we call a setup, baby.
Rumblings intensify of Russo-Japanese war. Hey, we were right. The first day aboard was blissfully quiet. The ship bucked across the waves, and I stayed down below with my master, ensuring he was comfortable. In the evening, I sat with... Do we want General Peters or Mademoiselle Carlotta?
Ooh, dealer's choice.
A Mademoiselle Carlotta, a flashy American gold prospector, who was apparently extraordinarily rich, though she carried herself like someone who had only come into wealth recently. Evening came with no sign of the artificer or captain. Perhaps they were busy ensuring we stayed upright in the water. Day 60. Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep, and we are not even yet halfway.
Oh yeah, we're boned.
No, we're fine. Good evening, Madame Shu. What do you think of my little ship?
Acapulco? Yeah, let's begin the conversation in Honolulu. Thank you.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm told that Honolulu is connected to Acapulco? Let's just say you can buy sugar canes in Acapulco. You can sell for profit in Burlington. Ah, yes, the great journey from Mexico
To Burlington.
to Burlington, Vermont.
Yep.
Can we go to Havana? Ooh. Now, anyway, can you figure out how this ship works?
Probably not.
Of course not, madame. It is quite mysterious. Good. My little secret to keep, then, I think. San Pedro?
Manila, I mean, like, our best bet, I think, is going through America or possibly Canada.
Tabatinga?
Where is that, I wonder? Excuse me.
They say that many artifacts are made by Aztec artificers. Panama City? Anywhere?
Uh,
Can we just go straight to the car? Oh, well, we can go through Pagoda.
yeah, I don't think any of this is helping us, bud.
We noticed the trouble when my bread roll slid from the side of my plate and rolled against the side of the craft, quickly followed by another passenger's wine glass. I went to retrieve my bread and tumbled, feeling suddenly giddy. The entire ship was listing to the left. A moment later, a strange noise began to issue from the engines below. It sounded somewhat like a scream.
Huh. Retired detective? Yeah.
The only other person in the dining car was the retired detective, Monsieur Jaffer. He gripped onto the table edge with whitened knuckles. "Monsieur, what is going on?" I demanded, but my master merely twitched his brow. The shrieking noise from the engine stopped, but the boat did not right itself. "Passepartout, perhaps it would be useful to ascertain the cause of this misalignment," my master suggested.
Well, not an engineer, but we do have a monkey wrench, so...
"Yes, monsieur," I replied. I headed from the dining car to the engine room to find our artificer.
Oh, I remember the storyline.
Negotiating the corridors was a difficult proposition due to our stubborn tilt, but we were, I could sense, slowly moving back to upright once more. Perhaps we were not about to sink after all? Suddenly, Mademoiselle Carlotta leapt into my path. "Passepartout!" she hissed. "Please step aside, mademoiselle,"
Yeah.
I said gently. I must get to the engine room. "I've just come from there," she replied, her expression aghast. "And, Passepartout," she stumbled, her voice a tremor. "Mademoiselle, tell me, please." "It is Madame Chou, our artificer. Passepartout, she is dead." I hurried to the boiler room, and it was true. Madame Chou was not only dead, the circumstances told a clear story. She had been murdered. The weapon lay close nearby. From the doorway, Mademoiselle Carlotta breathed. "That monkey wrench, Passepartout, it's yours, right?" I looked down at it. Funny, at first I had not recognized it because of the blood pooling around it. "But how did it get here?" I whispered. "And what are you doing here?" Mademoiselle Carlotta replied equally quietly, regardless of my line read. She took a step away, then quite suddenly fled from the room. I was left with a body and a weapon and a terrible anticipation of what would happen next. I am terrible at this. I don't think I've ever won this.
It's really hard, man.
The next day, the investigation, such as it was, began in earnest. The captain demanded to talk to everyone, but of course, everyone had an alibi. Maybe I should, write this down or something. In fact, scrap paper, pen. Because again, I've always... Don't you dare look this up.
Oh, no.
The time of death was declared by Monsieur Jaffer as being 2 or 3 hours before the body was discovered, based on his experience and the temperature of the corpse. But I am no doctor. He added, "There is no doctor aboard," I reminded him. "Nor is there a detective," he said. "I am retired with good reason." The manner of death was quite obvious and had been confirmed. "Surely it would have been a noisy affair," General Peters remarked. "Did anyone hear anything?" No one had. Indeed, if the ship had not begun listing without its artificer's guiding hand, we might not have discovered poor Madame Choux for several hours more. The scene of the crime could not be sealed because the crew needed access to the boiler, which was still making curious noises. At least we were fully upright once more. There was no doubt that the culprit was still aboard, but there was no clues to suggest who it might be. But the weapon, that belonged to us, and it had been spirited out of our own locked cabin. That, the captain huffed, is the only piece of true evidence we have, Passepartout. Where were you and your master at the time of the crime? I told the truth. I was taking a turn on deck, alone. My master, I believe, was in the drawing room. Also alone, Monsieur Fogg put in helpfully. The captain nodded. It does not look good, gentlemen.
I vote what possible motive?
But what possible motive could we have? I protested. The captain shrugged. I am a captain, not a police detective. Our course is simple, Monsieur Fogg said directly. We are in the ocean. There is nowhere for us to run, therefore no need to imprison us. Here is our offer. Let us discover the true culprit by the time we reach port, or you may arrest us for the crime.
Do we to play it?
I could have throttled him.
Yeah. Fuck this guy.
He gambled now, not with his fortune, but with our very liberty, and most likely with our necks. The captain nodded. Very well. You have until we dock. Once he was gone, Monsieur Fogg turned to me. Passepartout, our situation is desperate. You must uncover the truth.
Have you lifted a finger once in this entire...
There are ways to make him work.
Huh.
He can die.
Yeah, I guess that is working if you think about it.
How am I to do that? I demanded. I suggest you ask people things, Monsieur Fogg replied, and see what occurs. There were only a few days remaining. I drew up my list of suspects and got to work or attempted to do some detecting.
Well, I mean, 6 of 1, yeah?
Attempted to do some detecting. There was no time to lose. And then here's 6 hours and a wait. The mystery of Manoussia grows. That is one of my favorite parts of this. Once I realized that you could get more information from the newspapers.
Uh-huh.
To be fair, I think I say that was my favorite part of this, like, to every single thing in this.
It's just so incredibly well crafted. I mean, my god.
I began my investigations. I think you can talk to everybody, so it doesn't really matter what order we do this in. Oh, wait, no, you can't. You missed one.
I want to investigate the seed.
Got it. At the scene. Several feet had trampled through it by now, of course, and there had been ample chance for the murderer to come in and remove anything incriminating they might have left behind. Even the dust had drifted away from the open porthole.
But perhaps
there was something small they had not considered. I hunted in the dust, along the edges of the machines, in every nook and cranny, but I found nothing. Suddenly, the boat listed, and the machine made a squealing noise. And I looked over the controls, fearing disaster?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
But it seemed the artificer was tending her ship even from beyond the grave. A lever snapped, a piston pumped, a valve opened, and a blast of cold air shot out across the floor of the boat. Then the flap closed, the boat tilted upright, and the cold air spread away.
Presumably it was some kind of function.
Presumably, it was some regular function of the boat that helped to keep it upright. The exact workings were artifice beyond my skills, of course. With that, I left the engine room. So, I mean, it's a dangerous boat.
Fuck. You okay, buddy?
A game of whist with you? How enjoyable. This game did make me want to learn whist.
Yeah, you know what it made me want to do is fucking travel. Like, every time I play this game, I'm like, ooh, I could just go bop around Pyongyang. Like,
And here's the difference between you and me. I'm like, yes, a great fantasy, playing whist with a wonderful gentleman. On a boat, perhaps? No, that seems dangerous. You're just like, let's go to Pyongyang.
yeah, we could play Whist in Pyongyang. Best of both worlds, baby.
Shoot, if we go out that way, it's mahjong or bust.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. All right, let's talk to the Mademoiselle.
All right. Mademoiselle, you must help me. Mademoiselle Carlotta nodded, though I could see fear in her eyes, and she had demanded to talk out on the open deck in view of the bridge. Whatever I can do.
Huh.
You found the body. What were you doing in the engine room? What do you think? She exclaimed with perfect surprise. The boat was about to capsize. It was tipping right over. I hurried down to the boiler room to see what was going on and if I could help.
And you found her on the floor?
As you saw her. I righted the boat and went to get help, and I found you lurking around in the corridors outside.
Huh. So you know how the boat works.
No, she exclaimed. Only the artificer knew that. I just know about one simple valve. That's it.
Huh.
Did you know Madame Shu? Mademoiselle Carlotta shook her head. I've heard of her reputation, of course. That's why I agreed to board this ship. But I'd never met her. Until we launched. She nodded. She folded her arms suddenly. But what about you? Where were you when it happened?
Let's not be defensive.
I was taking a turn on deck, I told her. But you seemed determined to find someone to blame. Goodness, Passepartout, does the captain seriously think you did it?
Never mind my predicament. Let's worry about you.
Yeah, I am putting my extreme, oh my gosh, brain not working. Why do I keep wanting to say capsaicin? Skip it. You have a reason for your brain not working.
50-50.
She looked at me with sympathetic eyes. It is a terrible thing to be accused of that which you did not do.
I want to know about Madame Shu. What's her reputation?
Tell me of Madame Shu's reputation. She is one of a kind, Carlotta replied. A new Savicar. This hover ship is her own creation, as there is nothing else like it anywhere. It will revolutionize international trade if it is successful.
Ooh. Alright, have we gotten everything we can out of her?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, well.
I thanked her for her time. Had I learnt anything? I could not be sure. That night I remembered to adjust the pocket watch, and we had crossed the international date line and gained ourselves a day.
Woohoo! Alright.
A few days down, and I felt like I had learned very little, or if I had learned a lot, I was too confused to see it. To try and clear my head, I spent a few hours... Jaffer or the captain?
I vote captain. Or actually, fuck, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm thinking the captain.
Alright.
Have you found out anything yet, Passepartout? He inquired. I shrugged. I have a few ideas, I told him. I'm glad, he answered. For my money, I don't trust that General Peters. He's altogether too square-jawed about the whole affair for my liking. Do you have a key to our cabin? I asked, considering the matter of how the weapon found its way out of our luggage. He nodded. I have a key to every cabin aboard, as does the butler and the first mate. But their loyalty is without question to the ship and to the artificer. They are above suspicion.
Is anybody above suspicion?
Of course, the captain replied. Tell me about Madame Xu.
Huh.
He sighed with deep sadness. She was a remarkable artificer. This is a remarkable boat. Her great legacy. I could not be more proud to be her captain.
I don't know, what do you think?
She was going to make more ships? We were going to make an entire fleet, but that dream is gone. No one knows how the boat works. No one can repair it in case of disaster. He paused a moment and added, Please, do not tell the other passengers that.
Well, now we know the motive.
Where were you at the time of this crime? When the body was discovered, I was on the bridge with my crew. A few hours before, when Jaffer says it happens, I was off my ship. I was asleep. Alone? He bristled, but understood the question. Yes, Passepartout. Alone. I thanked the captain for his time. Good luck to you, Passepartout. I fear you may need it. Fuck. Think we get one more round.
Yeah.
I'd barely any time left. Hawaii was fast approaching. I used what I had. Jaffer or you know what? I think Peters is a red herring. Jaffer?
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. I think that the ultimate motive definitely has something to do with the fact that she was going to make more ships.
Yeah. Talking to Monsieur Jaffer. Monsieur, you must help me. Jaffer smiled thinly. I am retired, Passepartout, and not entirely through choice. What happened to you? He shrugged. There was an unlicensed trade in opium where I worked. I discovered it, but I did not shut it down. In fact, he spread his hands. I had a family to feed, so to speak.
That is corruption.
He nodded. It is. Opium is corruption wherever it goes. But this matter, I suspect, is not about opium. You do understand neither I nor my master were to blame. He nodded. I do. Someone unscrupulous is trying to fit you for the crime. However, that is very clear. I left Jaffer at the rail, contemplating the rushing water below.
Alright, here we go.
Morning came, and the shores of Hawaii were in sight. The captain approached, regret on his face, his cap in his hand. Well, Passepartout, Monsieur Fogg, what is it to be? I believe I have a theory, I replied nervously. The captain nodded briskly. I am glad to hear it. We will gather everyone together, and you can discuss what you have discovered. Very well. Come at once. Monsieur Fogg touched my elbow as we followed the captain to the drawing room, as the others were called. Passepartout, please be cautious. We are still under suspicion. Do not attempt to bluster, or they will think you are guilty. I have it clearly, monsieur.
I mean, we're gonna get screwed one way or another. Might as well just fake it.
Mademoiselle Carlotta. Oh, he nodded and we stepped into the room. Mademoiselle Carlotta was visibly fretting, looking about with a clear fear of someone. Monsieur Jaffer led by the window, his eyes clouded. General Peters looked frankly cross, presumably because of the delay to his journey. I cleared my throat and began to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I have brought you together because I believe I know who killed our artificer. Of course you know, General Peters said. You did it. The weapon was yours. You've no alibi, and you're damned Frenchy to boot.
Hey, don't be a racist.
I held up a hand for silence. The key to this whole affair, I began nervously, was the business arrangements of Madame Choux.
Yeah.
I saw the captain and Mademoiselle Carlotta exchange sharp looks. As you know, the artificer was the inventor of the ship. You may not know that she was considering going into business with the captain full time. Tell me, Captain, do you have any enemies? People who might wish you harm? The captain shook his head. Not me, nor Madame Choux either. I nodded, accepting that. The next detail is the lack of a scream. No, or the personalities.
The personalities, I think.
The personalities we see in this room. General Peters shook his head. What would a valet know of the human mind, eh? Much less the mind of a murderer?
Shit. Yeah. Well, fuck. See, we've gotten ourselves in too deep here, Douglas.
No. Because it's all of them.
Oh, is it a murder on the Orient Express deal?
Yeah.
I've never successfully solved this, so... Okay, well, shit. Let's do Carlotta, then.
But Mademoiselle Carlotta is most calculating. I am, she answered, but you have to be when you are rich. I could not argue. Monsieur Fogg gestured to me to continue. Let us consider the lack of a scream. I saw people sitting up sharply. We all saw the unpleasant manner of Madame Choux's death, but none of us heard it. I began to wonder, how could that be? It was, no doubt, sadly rather brief, General Peters said.
Yeah, I think that was my conclusion as well.
That was exactly my conclusion. I nodded. This was a murder by a most efficient killer. They all exchanged fearful looks while I continued. So then, this is the time of death. I saw Jaffer frown sharply. At the time told to us by Monsieur Jaffer, no one has an alibi for their whereabouts. Any of us could have been in the boiler room, bringing Madame Choux to grief. Indeed, Jaffer replied, but what of it?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
It seems irrefutable evidence, I agreed. Jaffer nodded. I touched her. She was quite cold. What if she was cold for another reason? Like what? General Peters put in. A cold blast of air.
Gasp.
He shrugged. It would have to be a very long, very cold blast, he said. Wind through an open porthole wouldn't do it.
But what if a snow giant farted?
I held up a finger for silence. Monsieur Jaffer, if such a thing were possible? The old detective shrugged. Then I would not know for certain. A coroner could have said more from the blood, but I could not. If the temperature were not a factor, she could have died at any time. I nodded, satisfied. So then, this is what we have discovered. No!
Well, look, do we know for sure there aren't snow giants with a kiss that toots up there? I submit not, sir.
Objection.
Alright, I guess show mercy. Like, I don't know.
Monsieur Fogg stood up. A lot of empty nonsense, I fear, Passepartout. Captain, we had an arrangement. He put his wrist forward. You may arrest us. The captain thought for a moment and then shook his head. I cannot do it. An English gentleman is above reproach. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Which one?
I vote beg for mercy.
Captain, you will show mercy? Not mercy exactly, the captain replied, voice heavy with bitter sadness. Madame Chou was my friend. I encouraged her to make this craft. I funded her experiments. I allowed you passengers on board. I should have helped to keep her safe. She was more valuable to me than you may realize. No one could have foreseen something so horrific. The captain shook his head. I am still ignorant now, but Madame Chou is gone. The boat is forfeit, my captaincy too. I cannot have you two arrested. There is no evidence. Any of my crew might have done it equally well. I fear we will never know. I looked at my master, but he bowed his head. Today, the captain said, I will be letting a murderer walk free. But there is nothing else I can in conscience do. With that, he left the cabin, and in sober spirits we disembarked. Madame Chou's killer was never brought to justice. My own suspicion that...
A complex suicide is too predictable for this game, I think.
I'm going to say the captain himself.
Yeah.
The captain himself had been responsible, seemed less likely in the wake of his sadness, and certainly it was left unproven. Your character is now well healed. Whatever. What does that adjective even mean?
I think it means like urbane, fashionable, you know.
Okay. Oh, we have a monkey wrench. That's
Cool.
great.
Alright, well. Wow, that's a lot of
250
accordion.
250 for a false passport's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. If we sell one more thing, we could put the monkey wrench in other suitcases.
Yeah. Trying to see what we have that isn't complete. Jungle Traveler?
We're unlikely to be going through any jungles for the next round, I think.
That's what you think. Oh no. Yeah. $1,200.
Do we have 12 hundo? Yeah, we do. Alright. Okay.
We do. But it's not till tomorrow anyway. So let's explore.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have another option. I find the US so boring, but...
Yeah, the US is real fucking boring is the thing, but it's efficient.
It was as though Honolulu lived in one indrawn breath, a wheeling swath of sky, white-laced waves, and pristine sand bounded by black volcanic bluffs. The town was entirely hidden behind groves of coconut and eucalyptus. We took a short tour.
Yeah.
You look, said our coach driver, Hila, like city folk. And what do they look like? I wondered aloud. All bent and crabbed over with your eyes fixed on the horizon, always in a rush. He murmured something to his horse, which looked well-fed and high-spirited. As a young man, I went to San Francisco to make my fortune. I, too, ran and scrabbled in pursuit of the almighty dollar. We're not pursuing wealth, monsieur, I corrected, though indeed Mr. Fogg's fortune hung in the balance of his wager. Was our entire adventure merely a glorified pursuit of coin? Our adventure thus far had been somewhat harum-scarum.
I don't know. I think we're still in pretty good spirits at this point. Even if we only have 2 weeks to get across America.
We got it, no worries.
Uh,
Barely we had placed our toes on dry land than we were looking to depart. Oh, I had seen so many wonders, and yet each had been ultimately reduced to another mark in my master's ledger. Do you not wish the freedom to exhale, Passepartout? The coach driver asked, to stop running and simply feel the wind upon your face, and the sun warming you, and the sound of the ocean like a heartbeat. I will take my moments where I may, Hila. I agreed. There is a peace here, a harmony between land and sea and sky which touches my soul. The coach driver sighed and turned his face up to the endless sky. A man may find himself here, he told me, but only if he wishes it. He invited us to his home that evening and fed us dough-like poi and bright fleshed slices of orange and guava.
yum.
And I thought, for once, about peace and purpose instead of the distance yet to travel. My own purpose remained undimmed, but Honolulu was a pause, a moment of pulled free of past and future and containing only the taste of guava and salt-freshened wind. We finished our day in Honolulu with a souvenir, a swirling conch shell, collected from the beach as we walked back to the docks.
Huh. Alright. Well,
7:50 to San Francisco?
yeah, it seems about the right way to go. I wish we brought our katanas. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. We missed the boat.
Well, shit.
We passed an anxious night. With our 80-day deadline looming, every sunset seemed to carry extra weight. Before turning in for the night, I ran a few errands for the hotelier, earning 100 pounds as well. Wow, I'll take that. As well as learning from him that you could obtain magnifying glasses in Panama City. You can sell for profit in Houston. We're not going that way.
Yeah, we're not going to either of those places.
Well, we might end up in Houston. Oh, 17 whole dollars. Go, go, go. We boarded a steam barge from Honolulu to San Francisco. The scent of ripe bananas pervaded every plank of decking and bulkhead, a sweet and deliciously rotting odor, which I'd rather became accustomed to. On the voyage, much to the detriment of my keen sense of smell. Experimental hover ship leaves Yokohama on maiden voyage. It went well. No one died.
Huh.
Arrgh, I huffed, attempting to convince my mouth that I ate fried kippers and potatoes at breakfast. Everything smells of bananas. Monsieur Fogg replied that he could not smell a thing, which I took to be his queerly English sense of humor at work.
Sure.
Still, if bananas were to be the worst of my troubles aboard this boat, that would be no bad thing. To be fair, kippers and bananas, not really the best flavor.
Horrifying.
Fog Valet dapper. Full report. We're dapper, at least.
Yeah, that's well-heeled. That well-heeled thing coming through.
I woke in the middle of the night, convinced that someone was in the cabin with me. I stayed very still and listened. There was a long, wave-lapped silence until I heard distinctly a dragging shuffle. I opened my eyes and looked up, my heart beating impossibly loud in my chest. In the darkness, I saw the sheen of a pair of eyes gazing vacantly into the dark distance. "Monsieur Fogg!" I cried, and my midnight visitor blinked and straightened and looked about my cabin in genteel surprise. "What?" he said calmly, pulling his dressing gown closed. "Am I doing in your cabin, Passepartout?"
That sounds like a you question, my man.
"You would know better than I, monsieur," I exclaimed passionately, rather upturned by his sudden appearance. He took a sharp breath. "It seems I have been sleepwalking," he said, his voice almost tremulous. "I have not done so since I was a child. Please accept my apologies." "Would you like to stay for a while?" I asked, sensing his agitation. I am awake, after all. He hesitated for a long moment. "I would like that, thank you." Apparently that's deteriorating relations? I guess that's fine.
Alright, well.
"Greetings, Captain. Passepartout, take my arm a moment. I need to know about San Francisco." Americans are still recovering from their civil war, I hear. Yeah, no. Salt Lake City. I believe so. You can get to Salt Lake City from San Francisco aboard the Transcontinental Express. This is getting into your part of the country. What's east of Salt Lake City? Omaha? Cheyenne?
That's a fantastic question. The country gets real big out here, is the thing.
I'm gonna say Omaha. No. Winnipeg and Duluth Railroad to Chicago. That's good, I guess. Here, English poetry.
Denver?
Cheyenne? Winnipeg to New York. That's useful. Cracker biscuits.
Yeah,
Salt
maybe,
Lake City.
Chicago.
Can we get to Dallas? Probably. Okay. Goodbye. So we can get to Salt Lake City. Oh, we get pretty far. Captain Kalani was a heavily pregnant Hawaiian woman who found Monsieur Fogg's English accent a source of great mirth. "Say something else," she demanded over breakfast. "Please, Mr. Fogg."
Let's distract her. It'll make our relations with Fogg go up.
I distracted her with some idle talk, and my master cast me a grateful look. All in a day's work for a valet of my unimpeachable caliber. Monsieur Fogg. English poetry. Let's get you all the way up to 100.
Yeah. Please,
Cracker
enjoy
biscuits?
some biscuits. Oh, oops. Oh well.
How dry. The fourth day aboard our barge passed quietly. Captain Kalani moved slowly around deck, her profile jaw-droppingly large. "When are you due?" "When we dock," she breathed, "and not a day before, I should hope." The blush in her cheek belies her excitement. It is a marvelous thing. "We do have 9 days to get across the entire country." We arrived into San Francisco without any further incident. Plan.
Looks like we got a pretty clear one ahead of us, yeah?
21. Oh God.
We gotta make some money. We gotta make some money.
Market. What do we have? We have nothing.
Oh boy. Yeah, 20 goddamn dollars. Sure, I'll get us to York.
Alright, well, alright, let's do this. How far can we get with what we have? We can get to Burlington. Do you want to hit up there?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right to me. Only other option is going south, which, like, why would we do that?
And we can leave today.
And we can leave today. Oh. Let's go. I guess maybe we'll try to find some way to make money there?
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Because both of us have played this game, I don't think this is a spoiler. Is that the area where you can get into the boxing match?
I don't remember. We were lucky to arrive in San Francisco just in time to catch a journey along the as-yet unfinished Transcontinental Express, which would take us as far as Burlington in 5 days, with only a handful of stops along the way. I'm aware. Yeah, Burlington. Can we get to Washington? Who knows? Can we get to Atlanta? Who knows? No, anyway, I suppose you don't have any idea who my father is? Apologies. Oh, don't worry, you will. Yeah, this is not useful. The first day aboard was enjoyable enough. American trains could clearly not compete with their European counterparts, but it was amusing to see them try. The posters proclaimed Pullman's Palace sleeping cars. And while not palatial in the slightest, they were at least serviceable. We sipped cool beer as we rattled through a long stretch of desert in the shadow of tall mountains. I gazed out the window at the endless, lifeless expanse on either side, wondering if humanity would ever occupy this great open space. It seemed unlikely. No, we're barreling through.
We can do it. We can do it.
We can't. There is no way. I'm almost positive, but we'll find out. Our fellow passengers were a curious mix of gold and silver prospectors, homesteaders, farmers from all corners of the world, Mormons, missionaries, soldiers, and stiff-necked gentry of various sorts. I gave a young black woman with a deep red bonnet and an infectious laugh, a wide smile. Her name was Diana. I am meeting my husband in Cheyenne, she told me. He did construction work in New York, but New York isn't safe anymore. We have enough money to move now. Why isn't it safe? I queried innocently, having only the broad strokes of American news and history. You did not hear the draft riots in Europe? She asked worryingly. New York has always had Confederate sympathies, and when the Union began drafting New Yorkers, they rioted. They killed and burned black homes. My husband has never felt safe since. But now we're moving to Cheyenne. She smiled, nearly glowing with happiness. Where else can one go but New York? I asked, thinking of our journey ahead. New Orleans. You can take the paddle boat down the Mississippi from Burlington, she laughed. Though New Orleans is dangerous in its own way. We talked a little bit more, and the afternoon wore into the evening, and we passed by Ogden, close to Salt Lake City. We watched as passengers disembark, glimpsing fertile fields and well-tended ranches out the windows of the train. Chugga chugga. Fog said to cross the date line, but will extra day be enough?
More games should give you the ability to listen to choo-choo noises.
Today, a fellow with a painfully trimmed mustache and impeccable suit approached me outside the lavatory. I nodded at him companionably, and his thin lips parted in a contained grin. "I am Felix Granger," he said. "You are a puzzle." I was flattered. "Monsieur, moi? Humble passepartout? I am no more a puzzle than sun's rise in the east. Truly, I am the simplest of men." "Oh, no. Do tell me how you came to be on the Transcontinental. Thereby hangs a tale, I can tell, good sir."
Well, this seems very legit and upfront and civilized and upfront. He is really interested.
Oh, darn. It seemed a probing question, which made me immediately suspicious of his motives. I made some non-committal answer, but he pressed me further. Finally, I confronted him and asked him his business outright. "You were a sharp customer, and no mistake." He grinned. "Though I perceive no harm in you, I am a Pinkerton agent." I knew a little of the Pinkertons. They were a detective agency and had been hired by Abraham Lincoln himself during the American Civil War. "What are you doing here?" I asked, fascinated. He looked around before leaning closer to whisper his true purpose. "I am here because we have heard rumors that the outlaw Jesse James plans to rob this train. So keep your eye out."
Why would you just tell a rando that?
A hot rando. We stopped at Cheyenne, Wyoming, for a few hours in the evening. The Pinkerton agent disembarked to talk with a 6-foot-tall woman who wore the latest slim train skirts and a pistol tucked into her waistband. We watched none the wiser. At luncheon, I asked one of the women homesteaders, who informed me that she was Esther Hobart Morris, a justice of the peace, and indeed the first one in America. She sniffed. "Honestly, some women. J-Ram, what's wrong with being a wife and mother, I ask you?"
That's uppity. She's getting above her station.
The Pinkerton agent boarded the train again before the last whistle blew, his face drawn and anxious. We were held up by outlaws, as the Pinkerton man had predicted. They dragged tree trunks over the line and forced the train to a halt, before boarding, brandishing pistols and sabers. They went carriage to carriage, demanding valuables. Typically, the Pinkerton agent was nowhere to be seen. I looked at my master, who... Was he phlegmatic, or did he have a certain glint in his eye?
I've tried to remember what phlegmatic means. Is that that's... Bilious is the mad one, right?
Yeah, phlegmatic is, like, extremely calm.
Well...
I think he's got a glint.
Yeah, I think he's got a glint in his eye.
He had a certain glint in his eye, and I did not doubt that he wished to resist these outlaws' demands, being a man with the deepest respect for the law. The lead bandit fired his gun into the air. "The name," he declared, "is Jesse James. Now you'll give me everything you've got."
Is that what Jesse James sounded like?
Yes.
All right. Well,
I will call him tomorrow and double check. The saber lifted to my throat.
We already got a tip off. I think we already hit our shit.
I'd already hidden our valuables on the warning of the Pinkerton agent, so I invited him to search my things with little success. The saber point moved on. Now it was Monsieur Fogg's neck. "What about you? You look good for it."
Well, he's got a glint in his eye, so maybe he's got something planned?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay silent.
Yeah.
I stayed silent, allowing my master to handle the threat however he saw fit. Monsieur Fogg cleared his throat. "I would trouble you to lower your sword," he said. I listened, fearful. "You'd trouble me, would you?" Jesse James replied. "Somehow I doubt you would." Monsieur Fogg stiffened a little. His eyes narrowed. I could see he was about to do something terribly rash. I saw movement in the corner of my eye and glanced around. The Pinkerton agent was creeping along the side of the train. He caught my eye and put a finger to his lips. Monsieur Fogg was standing stiff as a post, the sword point directly on his Adam's apple. I have boxed for my country, he declared.
What does that even mean, Fug?
I covered my eyes. I could not watch. Just at that moment, a group of soldiers headed by the Pinkerton agent stormed aboard our carriage, pistols drawn. Jesse James lifted his sword and held up his hands.
I would watch curiously because we might get something out of it.
I watched curiously as he was led away by the agents. Felix paused to thank me for stalling him. I could only shrug modestly. Then the steam engine restarted and we were soon on our way, not much worse for wear. A kind fellow passenger gave me a spare pair of shoes, and a few hours later we reached Burlington. We disembarked, grateful to have arrived in one piece. Oh, we can make it to New York for 480. Go?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We're still gonna need to, yeah, let's go. We're still gonna need to, send for money, though.
That's fine. We can figure that out. I just... one of the rare times that we actually could, like, go, and let's not worry about why it was so much cheaper. Outlaw Jesse James captured by Pinkerton agent, but escapes before reaching courthouse.
Hell yeah.
The train had made a few runs across the country now, and the staff were getting into their stride. Cheerful service, but a firm hand when required. Just like, you don't care about this. Just go. The train rumbled along the East Coast. I began to discuss with other passengers how we might depart from New York. It seemed there had been a steamer to Queenstown in Ireland, but it had run out of business by an airship company, which now made the same 8-day crossing in 3. Fast, but not fast enough, I feared. However, there was a catch. It's eye-bruisingly expensive, my confidant told me. They're robbing you and not ashamed to admit it. There are no other companies? Not to London. But you can fly to Reykjavik, that's halfway home. I thanked my informant and returned to Monsieur Fogg. It was day 76. We had barely 100 hours remaining to return home.
Huh.
Renowned Brit Sir Francis claimed Cully cult brainwashed British. Okay. We arrived late in the afternoon rather than the morning. I felt a touch of fear as we disembarked. This was New York, and no place for a fine gentleman such as Monsieur Fogg. A city of glory, corruption, greed, and industry. A jungle far more deadly than those of dark tropics through which we had passed. Stetson hat should be quite valuable here.
Alright, let's sell all of our shit. See how close we can get to London. London is gonna be 4,000. Oh, that's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, we're gonna have to aim for 690. Which...
Yeah. If we sell all our shit, maybe we can get there?
Maybe. We'll find out. Let's hotel it up. I was pickpocketed in New York. I seized the thief's hand, still in my pocket. You tangled with the wrong Frenchman, I exclaimed in triumph. The little thief looked up at me with thick-lashed eyes. I realized belatedly that the thief was a young girl, barely 10. I released my grip slightly, and she took the opportunity to curse in a thick Irish accent and bit me. I held on despite the inconvenience, and finally she grinned at me, teeth stained with my precious life's blood.
Gasp.
Are you done, little vampire? For now, the girl muttered. What's it to you? I looked down at my bloody arm. Truly, it was a salutary lesson not to let my guard down in strange climes. Don't steal again, I commanded sternly. As she returned my possessions, she agreed she would not ever again, cross her heart, though her expression was shifty.
Sure, kid. Sure.
I relaxed my grip and she slithered away and lost herself in the crowd. I made my way back to our hotel before anything more untoward could befall my delicate person. Okay, Stetson hat.
All of it. Cogshell.
Monkey wrench. $1. Cracker biscuits. $1.
Sure.
Linen trousers. $1. $4. $4. This is not going well, J-Ram.
Yeah, it seemed like such a good idea.
Oh,
What's
but
our
we're getting
target?
there.
690?
Oh, we're so close. What is this cube of black glass?
That's a great question. That seems like something that we should have.
7 cents.
Oh no, so close, and yet so far.
No.
Oh, that sucks shit. Well,
Wait. All right.
yeah, we're not there. Fuck.
No, but can we do it? Oh.
Oh, this, oh god.
All right. Then if we go to the bank, we're just going to pull out $4,000.
Yeah, it's, look, let's get home.
Mr. Fogg looked up from his ledger. We're due a visit to the bank, I think. Oh.
In for a
but-
penny, in for a pound, right?
Yeah, I mean, if... Regarded the bank as we entered, it was a palace of stone and shimmering marble floors with beautiful windows, fountains and plants. You wish to withdraw funds, we were told? I warn you, it may take some time. Well, if we do 3 days, we can work for the other 400. No.
Yeah.
Whatever, a week.
Alas.
Well,
If
we
we hadn't-
lost.
If we hadn't got thrown in that damn Russian prison, we would have made it.
Absurd. We require 5,000 pounds, I said. The manager drew a sharp breath. I'll have to communicate with London first, of course. He apologized. I should have a reply in 5 working days. It seems, Monsieur Fogg remarked as we left, we have some time to dispose of. Well, explore, I guess.
New York City, baby! Pizza! Hey,
Watch.
forget about it! New York Mets!
I spent a few hours in exploration, discovering the options for how we might continue our journey. Museum Mile had not been created yet, and therefore...
I'm walking here!
Another night, and the clock was forever ticking upwards. We had another 6 days to wait for our transfer of funds. But we were still deciding what to do. We took a room and settled in. I helped the kitchen staff to clean, earning £65 in fees and tips.
I mean, we can get... No. Oh well.
No. We still don't have...
This is torture!
Oh man, this is gonna be so close, because it's like $100 per night. Night
Do not
fell.
lose heart!
As we laid down to sleep, Monsieur Fogg murmured, "Today is day 80, Passepartout. We have failed. Do not lose heart," I advised him. "Indeed not," he agreed. "We must still return home, and as fast as possible." Day 80, Passepartout. Was with a heavy heart I watched the sun go down. 80 days had come and gone, and here we were, still marking time and not yet home. We had 4 days to wait for our money to arrive for London. So we found a room and let the time go by. The wait this close to our deadline was nerve-wracking. We woke, ready to be at the bank as soon as it opened its doors.
Well,
so close. We returned to the bank at opening time to collect our funds, and we were ready to proceed once more.
off we go.
Oh god, how long do we have to wait now? In 2 days?
7:40. Yeah, we can still afford it. I mean,
Yeah, cool. 12 noon.
all
Let's
right, well,
not
off we
forget.
go.
Another night passed, another mark on our calendar, another nail in the coffin of Monsieur Fogg's wager. With the last few hours of the evening, I ran a few errands for the hotelier, earning £73. Fees and tips. Let's go.
Go.
Oh, it's good that we only had one suitcase. We had left New York aboard the Henrietta, an old Confederate airship converted to a transatlantic mail carrier. We had reached London in 3 days, barring any unexpected delay. Adventurer Fogg expected back shortly. The ocean tore along beneath us. I enjoyed talking to no one. There was nothing I needed to know. No one to charm, flatter, or to beguile us into giving us aid. It was only the wind and the time, and we could control neither. This is not the longest I have taken, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I think my record was somewhere around 100.
Yeah, same. Feigned lunatic Phileas Fogg throws unlikely bet. Monsieur Fogg looked out of the observation deck windows with perfect calm, though the wager was lost and he was no doubt ruined. I watched him closely for fear he might do something drastic. I spent the remaining time embarking on the writing of this account, though I had found already the details of our early adventures had grown vague and indistinct. We tethered at the airship dock in Hyde Park and felt, for the first time in 88 days, the feel of English soil under our shoes. At long last, we had returned to London. I hailed one of the steam carriages idling on the banks of the Serpentine in Hyde Park. To the nearest pub?
We're in no hurry. I mean...
To the nearest pub, I instructed. My master shook his head. To Savile Row.
Don't be a fuddy-duddy, Fogg.
He corrected calmly and turned his face to the window. We had lost the wager, and by only a handful of days. One fewer delay, one speedier journey, and we might well have returned to London in glorious triumph, rather than ignominy. My master entered his domicile with his habitual tranquility, though he instructed me to leave the windows shut up so that his neighbors would not mark his return. I prepared his supper, and he ate heartily, as if he were not utterly ruined. "Passepartout," he began, "you have performed your duties with competence and skill, Passepartout," he said, as though remarking upon the weather. "And what will you do now, monsieur?" I asked, trying to emulate my master's coolness and aplomb. "My course, Passepartout," Monsieur Fogg interjected smoothly, "is fully decided upon. We must attempt the journey around the world once more." Monsieur Fogg consulted his ledger and tapped his pen. "Perhaps, this time," he said thoughtfully, "a more southerly route? Your journey around the world is complete."
Oh, man.
Adventurer Phileas Fogg loses wager. Fogg blames Indian rebels destroying the train line in Chittagong, captured by Kali cultists, and arrest in Vladivostok for an 88-day journey. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I found a perfect path, and the train line was destroyed.
No!
88 days, visited 31 cities, traveled 26,781 miles. Apparently I like steamships. Finishing balance, $28,000 in debt. 12,000 miles by sea, 7,800 miles by land, 6,500 miles by land or air or whatever. I was passionate. I was remarkable at valeting. I was comfortable.
Okay, I'll take that.
And then it restarts. And that is like easily my favorite part, is that there's no introduction, there's no anything, it just restarts.
You know what to do, motherfucker. Yeah,
Yeah, how you feeling?
God, I love that game so fucking much. I just want to go play some ADDs. Shit, like...
Alright, we are going to do some... I am sure that I want to exit the game, sadly. We're going to do some, real quick switching around. So, I think this is a good time to let you rest your voice a little bit.
Yeah.
And that will give me time to get everything set up for Superluminal Vagrant Twin. Which, let's find out. Alright, change capture. Yes. Which actually is a category in Steam. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, bless.
So I will do this really quickly, and then we'll take our regular union break. Do you have any last thoughts on 80 Days while I am frantically typing?
The only last thoughts that I have are that we need to do a full run together on the stream, por favor.
Yeah, we could definitely do another.
Look, I'm never not down.
It honestly, it surprised me. So playing yourself is like what, an hour, if that?
Yeah, maybe, yes. I think 30 to an hour sounds about right.
So like, this was 2 hours. The last run, I think I made it to 3 hours playing it, just to that part. So it's wild to me, like, the difference in actually reading every single word instead of, like, playing the game and just, like, playing it. Which I think is really, really interesting. I find this with, like, Twine games as well, and Choice of games, where, unlike with parser games, I find it really difficult to like actually read the thing, and instead I end up playing the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fundamentally very different gameplay loop than a parser game, which is mostly a puzzler. I mean, there's some, like, I'm not sure what you would call the fundamental gameplay. There's, like I said, inventory optimization, some resource management, some exploration kind of woven in there, and then the individual storylets, even down to the structure of the sentences, are broken, like highly broken up and staccato, to use our favorite word from last week.
Yeah,
and so it's quite easy to click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Which, when you slow down and actually appreciate it, good God, is there some stuff in there?
It was wild to like even see like that there were different even like character voice wasn't that difficult. Where like definitely when I'm playing a lot of parser games, I like struggle with character voice because they're just not, by and large, they're not like fully written out. And I'm running into it with Nethergate just because there's so many characters.
Oh yeah.
And they're at the end of the day, like a computer RPG is a very different kind of game than like a parser game or something like 80 Days. But like I am running out of what these characters sound like, where in 80 Days I felt like at least the major characters, you got some fun. Like you could tell when somebody was being like flirty. You could tell when somebody was being, a little different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like nerding out too much about.
No, I mean that's what we call just classical good prose. Like that, it's just talented writing, and that's the same across every medium in the world.
But yes, let's for sure do an 80 Days stream at some point, because
Oh, I can't wait.
I would do that over and over and over again, obviously. So yeah, I'm sorry, I lied. It's not 60. It's only 42.9 hours in that game.
When did you start?
When did I buy it? Whenever you recommended it. It was like the first thing.
Aw, man, that makes me extremely happy. Somebody listens to my dumb bullshit.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me when I bought it. But I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's just like, it's something that I can fall asleep playing for sure. Which, like, that's an important quality in a video game for me.
Oh, agreed.
And just, I'm always shocked at, like, the world that was built. Like, the artificers are super cool. It's steampunky, but it doesn't seem, like, boring. Like, a lot of, that's such a bad word, but, like...
No, but, like... There is a very defined steampunk thing, right? Fucking top hats, gears, brown corsets. And this takes steampunk in such an interesting, and like also the connotation is like, long live Britannia, right? Let's all be real fucking nostalgic for like Edwardian gaslight and shit. Meg Giant is, I think her Twitter bio is like decolonizing everything. That is her modus operandi as a creator. And oh my god, I love it.
I think just having the lead character be French instead.
Oh yeah.
Is like, goes a long way with that. Because he goes into like, yeah, our time has passed. Like they lose some war. Like, I think part of the alternate history is that France loses the Franco-Prussian War.
Yes, I believe you're right. You go into it at the World's Fair, right?
Yeah, I think so. And it's just like, that's such a powerful thing to be like, okay, I am not British, and you go to all these places that like they don't like the British, and you're just like, I'm French, listen to my accent.
Yep, exactly.
Like, you don't have to tell me that the British aren't awesome, but also I'm working for some British person. Have you actually ever read 80 Days Around the World in 80 Days?
You know, I did when I was a kid. All those Jules Verne, at the fucking school library or whatever. Didn't know a lot of it though. Like, how about you?
No, I've never. I don't think I've ever done a Jules Verne novel. Huh.
20,000 Leagues is pretty good. Mostly because, Kraken and shit.
Yeah, I feel like The Time Machine would be very like my thing.
She was, wasn't it?
Oh shit, that was.
They were buddies. They were buddies, I think, though. So you're not too far off.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes me feel a little better. Being completely poorly read, but all right, let's take our union break.
All right, let's do it.
we will get to Superluminal Vagrant Twin.
Oh, so exciting.
All right.